Good afternoon. Welcome to Option Center's Thursday, July 11th, 2024. Welcome, everybody. We're getting somewhat of a rejection here. This might be the initial part of our move, but I also want to caution that the market likes to play around tops a lot. So still possible that we have some unfinished business in the Qs. I'll show you that. We missed it by a few cents, under a dollar. Our final target there. So it's possible that something might happen to where we still need to inch out a new high, maybe a new high in tech and then a lower high in SPY, which I don't really see happening because IWM is so strong. So we'll go through all of those and I'll try to talk you through how the top just could be in, but how this could look if either one of those markets become a little bit stronger to pull up SPY. So we're going to go through the SPY on multiple time frames. It's intraday here, 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. And if you're a supporter, you get these videos during. If you want to get these videos during the intraday, please consider becoming a supporter. Otherwise, I'll be out at 4 p.m. anyway. So here we go. SPY on the monthly time frame. We talked about this yesterday. We have these two tops here, 2000, 2021, and we're playing with that trend line now. So I suspect, and you'll see on the weekly time frame how it happened twice, but I suspect that this will be a doji candle on the monthly time frame. So we have some time for that to happen. Perhaps we get a new little high or lower high around the 20th or so. We have some time references, and we start to see a doji on this rejection here on this monthly time frame. Tesla, I did a members video for that today, and it was a prime example of a trend line broken and price is now falling back underneath it at monthly wick. So each candle, each time frame matters, and the higher time frames are the most important. All right. So let's go to the weekly. On the weekly time frame, here's a closer look at that 2000 trend line. You saw you had the two weekly wicks underneath it. That was a great shorting opportunity. It did not play out. You had a bullish engulfing candle here, but now look again, the same trend line rejecting off of it after a fake break. So this possibly could be it for this week. Maybe we get a little bit of a bounce into tomorrow and end up finishing off this move to the downside. Now, price action, it does obey these trend lines. So perhaps we come all the way back to test the top of this wedge that we broke out from and either get a lower high or even go to test new highs. Any of those are possible. We were focusing on this type of move yesterday. Perhaps we get a top like this, and this is going to be the confusing part, is we made an all-time high on the Qs right here, but in SPY we still had another high to go. On the Qs we made a lower high here, and so the tech market ended up leading to the downside. That's what is kind of showing today. When I get over to I'll go over in just a second to the Qs. I just hate having unfinished business left there. So going to the Fibonacci and Elliott wave look on the weekly time frame, we hit our target perfectly, the 561.48. We got there. Maybe we go for tweezer tops, go for another, just like the weeks here, and where we eked out a new high on the red candle there. That same thing could happen here if the market wants to be strong here on Friday. So Friday will be a good tell on price action. If the Qs start to bounce pretty hard, even for a lower high, and IWM continues to the upside to some targets, then I believe that we can eke out brand new high here, but still reject off of this 561 target. And so that's what I mean. I'm kind of like dancing around this area, taking time rather than just getting one rejecting candle and that's it. So this one, you had one rejecting candle and a move down, but major tops here. Now, look, this is a major form. So you had a rejection, a couple weeks down, a full week to take back most of that area here. So that's why we take profit as we go. And then again, back and forth until we made a new high there. All right. So that we could see something like that happening. So we are hedged long again with IWM after the breakout. Now we have time references here in about 721, 723. So just keep that in mind. If we do get perhaps another candle to the upside, or for forming some sort of top like this, then that might play some sort of setup there. Right now the setup is to the downside. So at minimum we could see that 8 EMA for the weekly time frame. That would bring us right back down to that trend line that I was talking about. So let's move over to the Qs and show you, just I think they're hinting to us and saying, hey, we have some unfinished business. And so looking at the weekly time frame, we have our 5-wave move and pulse up. And we have 504.16 is the 162% retracement from 2021 high. And our high here is 503.52. So we missed it by less than $1. Is that it? Sure. That can be. You see, it looks like it tagged the line because I made that line thicker. So maybe that's done. But it also might be hinting to us that there's just one slight, maybe we get a double top here or a tweezer top, or come down a little bit to test the 8 EMA or so and actually start forming a double top. So this could see some volatility for some time. So make sure you take profit into moves and be very careful. I already hedged on the Qs, and I'll show you on the daily time frame why in just a second here. So while we're on the weekly, let's go to IWM. And so that's the monthly look we had. It's kind of a megaphone expanding. Now I think we're trying to search out a new top here. So it's possible we go to test back on this trend line up here. That would be our high target. That's around, looks like, depending on the time frame, looks about 216 to 218. Let's go to the weekly board. And we're at the trend line that we were talking about before. Just a good resistance, so having a little bit of trouble just breaking right through there. But we have more fib resistance coming up here. Now, if price gets above here, you could see some zones. That looks like 215. You see all these wicks here and bodies, about 216, anywhere to another spot about 218, 219. So right in that zone would be a little bit more resistance. But if you move over to the Fibonacci, really we just have a slight new high. Again, see how this is unfinished business here. We didn't get to that 62% retracement, but rejected off of it. And now it appears that price wants to go to that 62, and that's only at the 213 area. So that could be it. This could be just enough to get to there and then reject. All right, that could happen this week, could happen next week. Maybe next week is the doji candle, and this week kind of finishes off with that's nice Maribosi candle. And then if price action really wants to get on top of 62% retracement, hold on top on the daily and weekly time frame, and push the market up. Maybe the Qs just completely fall out of bed and the small caps hold up the market enough to get to the 786. It's possible. I'm not looking for that scenario, but it certainly is possible. And I think we planned this out a long time ago. So that would be what it looks like Elliott wave count wise, where that's an A and this an AB, and we're looking for a 5-wave move up for a C. So anything's possible. We can hold the market up and continue to go higher. But if any second, if this is strong and the Qs give way, start bouncing a little higher or so, maybe want to tag that new high, then the market's going to go up with it. So we are short DIA as well. Again, we tried it once and then it went a little bit higher. Now we're back at the 80%, almost 90% retracement. So having a little trouble there. We're looking at it yesterday here. So if this wants to continue higher as well and just eke out a new high, that's possible, but it could reject off here. I was looking for a lower high on this being the top. All right, so this could go any which way. That's where we're going to pay close attention to all of these markets here. They're playing this rotation game right now. Let's go down to the daily. The market can always get a rejection and start grinding its way up by rotating into different areas. So here we have a possible channel I drew yesterday from these two lows. So there's some symmetry with this top and then with that top. Not, it's not fancy, but I was just drawing it there for reference. And then you got a rejection off of it, and then we're holding on to this wedge that we call this a throw over. And so a breakdown from this wedge, and again on the weekly time frame, that would say a lot. You move to the weekly and you have a wick back underneath it. That's a fake break. So we'll see how price ends up tomorrow. But again, now we have completed our targets for SPY, so it doesn't have to get a new high, but we have to watch those other markets to see how they react, and maybe this price action wants to do something back and forth and maybe eke out a new high, depending on what happens with the other markets. Maybe IWM hits its target and then Qs start to get strong and make a new high, and this one makes a lower high. I just don't have that information out yet. This one is complete. It hit its target. Let's go over to the Elliott wave, and then I'll show you the Qs. See that rejected right off of that 162% retracement from 2021. So it's satisfied. This could be the top right here. Let's see what happens. Already took some profit and rolled out some put positions. This could be considered a tweezer top in itself. Two bars there. It doesn't matter how this candle ends up. And some price, really the price, we're going to look to what happens going into about 721 to 723. And I like to show this one. This is kind of like what we're looking this whole time. For a very long time we were looking at this, had to throw over, and we're testing back. So this is just a nice clean look at it, and we hit our target here before our time. We thought it would take a little bit of time to get there to that target, maybe reject it a little bit, but nope, got there. And so price may still do the same thing. So if we look at this a little bit closer, maybe we go down to test the 8 or the 20, maybe into this volume shelf, and go to back test. And so may even peak up above this a little bit, and that would be considered a double top, whether it makes a new high or a lower high. That would be a double top, and maybe hits that trend line once again to back test to make sure that it's not going to go higher, but it would still be considered rejection off of the 162. So this is the precaution move here. Things just don't go straight down, but if we get an impulse move that just continues lower, then I think this would be an impulse wave 1 for wave 2 pullback. So let's go look over at the Qs real quick and show kind of what we'll be looking for in that time frame. The daily here drew a channel from these two geometric moves here. You have a top here, and now rejecting off there. Drew a trend line. We're just testing the 8 EMA, so that's why I hedged to the upside today. We got all the way down, covered 1, 2, 3, 4 days of price action to the upside, and we're now getting a little bit of a reaction off the 8 EMA. So let's go over to the Elliott wave look. And right here, we just, like I said, we just missed it by $1 or so. So it's just very possible that maybe we test this breakout zone. Maybe price goes down a little bit lower into the 20 simple moving average going into tomorrow and perhaps Monday, and maybe makes a low, possibly tags and gets a new high here. I just don't know how that will look, or maybe we just leave price action, undone, unheard of, or unfinished. So what we'll be paying attention to if this is the case, or maybe it goes from this 8 EMA, because really it looks like there could be a structure here for a 1, 2, 3. It could be complete with a little 4 inside of here, and maybe this is making a wave 4 and it kind of inches up higher. So that's why I hedged into tomorrow. Tomorrow could be with the PMI in the morning, could be a nice last hurrah up there. And if we do and hit this 504.16, I think that will be a great another short there. We did fantastic with this one. It'll be a great another opportunity for that, and that will be a higher high. So we'll then after that we'll look for a nice impulse move to the downside. So so if this price action continues lower, we'll have to start thinking otherwise. So if we go down to test the 50, now we have a bearish type impulse move, and we'll be looking for rejection, any bounce off of the 20 or 8 simple move, or 8 EMA, which is our momentum indicator, and 20 simple, which is our trend indicator. So right now the trend is up. Get underneath there, and now we'll start talking about, okay, well, I think the top is in. So we can't confirm that the top is in until we start changing trend on the daily, starting off with the daily time frame, and then we'll look on higher time frames after that. IWM. Again, we're just looking for a move here. I'm hedging up to 213, and we'll see what happens from there. See what kind of time frame we're looking for. If we look at this on the daily, we had a breakdown, looked like a back test, but then after CPI, just gapped above all of this. And now that's a fake break if you've never seen one, and now push above a breakout for this triangle, and we can redraw the triangle down here if you want, but holding on to that and coming into the resistances at 212. And if it wants to, because of the wedge, you can redraw this wedge now, because possibly going to make a new high, and just line it up with that one right here. And now we have just a larger wedge that's forming. And so if price action really wants to start moving and continue, it would just fill out the wedge more. And I'm going to get rid of this because that's not really playing a role. And so it could be up to that, where the area that I was talking about, 220 or so. If price really wants to push on top of 212, then we'll fill out the wedge a little bit more. All right. Anything else? Let's look at the VIX. So the VIX is kind of showing us that it wants to move, but is rejecting off of this new downtrend line. So we had this channel breakout back test. So it could start moving at any time now, but any rejection off of this trend line, and we can't expect the market to break down anymore. So this could be, a doji candle and we get a reversal and goes back to, test the lows again. But until this actually breaks out from this downtrend, it's holding on to the 50. So it's starting to firm up a bit. Maybe we get an inside candle or so. But as long as it holds above this 8 EMA and the 50, then it can start to break out further. So we'll see what happens. But underneath here, in the market can't drop much farther than, it needs to. This needs to confirm. So I would say a new high after today's high, about 1330. And I already have the alert there. Then we'll be looking for our next leg lower. So I imagine price might gap down tomorrow for the VIX, but if the market gaps down tomorrow, we'll probably see a gap up and a continuation to the 200-day moving average. All right, you guys, that is what I want to show you. Thanks for joining us here at Options Center. Don't forget to like the videos. Thank you for the support. My wife actually walked in here and I got my pin to start getting paid from YouTube. Huh. That's exciting. So thanks for all your support. We'll talk to you soon.